let you know when. Yeah, there we go.
All right, here we
Perfect.
go.
How far into this video are you?
Restarted.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. I think. Listen. I think it's very important that you really take in like. I think what's perfect about it is how little uh text there is in this. It's just quite literally the act of what's happening. You
Well,
know?
I mean, like with the intro, it spells out for itself. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it presents it, like it's
Yeah.
this may be one of James Raywald's finest works. It may go
Yeah.
down.
And that's where too, where it's like the better he gets at his art form, like the more
Yeah,
he
yeah,
moves
yeah.
into like the Charlie Chaplin phase of like,
I think you see him like experimenting with different things too, because he's done like the full leftist text or whatever, and then there's this
yeah.
amazing video where he's just quite neatly like pantomimed
Wait, well,
the Israeli.
do you wanna do the share screen thing?
Well, no, no,
No.
no. I
Okay.
think, I think, I think people should have already seen this, and if they haven't, that's
Uh,
kind. I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of disrespecting art to not watch. I mean, I'll pull it up for a second, but I just think.
okay. Well, I mean, okay, I gotta watch the thing.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Yeah.
You want me to throw? You need to watch it again.
No, I haven't seen this TikTok. All right, I haven't
Oh,
seen.
okay, okay, okay. So
So
I'll pull it
I
up. I'll pull it up. We can
yeah.
watch it together, so that you can
I
really.
I thought this was just like the literal video that the IDF released.
Yeah.
That it was it's so absurd and ridiculous.
Okay.
Like I thought that like
Let's do
that
this
was
so that
the
you can
thing.
enjoy what's happened
Yeah.
here.
So Charlie puts out a call for the unthinkable to retrieve his seed and be able to continue growing their family. She's in her own war against time, and the crowd
War
leaps
against
into
time.
action to complete her desperate mission.
Yeah. They only swim for so long.
Sergeant Jizmail. Very nice. Oh no. Okay, don't worry. I know you were worried about the hero dying right here, but there's
No.
hope. All right. Yeah. Nice. Good shout out to the gospel as well.
I just want to ask y'all one
Gives
thing.
people a reason to
Why
kind of
y'all
like look
sleeping
that up.
on
That's
knowledge
great.
beats?
Amazing.
Oh my god.
You know, just like honestly, really, really transcending the medium type of stuff. I honestly can't believe that
Oh
there's
wow.
nobody operating like James Raywald, like out in the world today.
No, he and you know what I'm saying, honest, it's like people get like so scared every time there's like, oh, this new type of like media or whatever,
Yeah.
it's like so like I can just like imagine some people are like, the newspaper is gonna be dangerous. Everyone's gonna go crazy if you're gonna give it to everyone. You're just gonna have some fucking bastard child with no fucking parents throwing this piece of paper with information on it. What the fuck's gonna happen? Right? And now it's like people like freak out about like TikTok and all the type of stuff.
Yeah.
But essentially, like, really, it's like, for one, I'm not sure why Vine isn't here, but at the end of the day, too, yeah, no, he's really like nailed this new medium, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I think he understands I don't know, I'm old or whatever, but I have to imagine like from talking to, people in my community and everything, like he resonates with the Zoomers. Like they share this around. It's pretty, when you go a layer deeper, you see all the text that he does link in there and it gets them like kind of interested in more propaganda.
Yeah. No, and I just that's how you know when you're doing it right. Like when you're, I mean, I call it like infotainment.
Yeah. You get to get entertained and like learn a little something. Edutainment, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The kids,
Yeah.
they're into
Yeah.
these things, right?
That's right.
Put skateboard behind the back.
If you have a skateboarding duck, but they have like, you know, a communist hat or something, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. That's actually our logo.
Yeah, yeah, good,
Skateboarding
good.
duck. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? We keep the goose, or what is that a goose at the top? The thing until we figure out how
It's
to
a
get rid of
duck.
it?
It's a
Yeah,
duck.
it's a duck. All right, yeah, we keep
It's
the
our
duck, we just
skateboarding duck.
yeah.
Tommy skateboarding duck.
Good, good. Do
Got it.
you
We
wanna
nailed it.
introduce this thing, talk about what it is before we, you
Oh,
know.
right. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So, welcome to the first episode of manufactured content,
That's right, yeah. I'm really
which,
proud of it.
yeah. No, I
Proud of
think
that
if we
name.
could like put some like uh lightning bolts and storm
Yeah.
sounds in the background. But
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
like that's where it's like
Some good
I don't know.
animations.
We could like lean into like some lefty stuff, but we're just well, I don't know. From my perspective,
Mhm.
this is some extra things that you can use to bide your time in this
Yeah.
hell world, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Little, a couple of more little bits of entertainment, you know? Is that the
I-
way that I put it?
Infotainment.
Yeah,
Let's
well,
hope we can.
info edutainment, all
Yeah,
those
let's
things.
hope we teach something here.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah, we each got our own Twitch streams.
Yeah,
We thought we would join forces and um spread propaganda on YouTube. And like this
which
is
is important. I think, necessary in this day and age.
yeah. Well, the comedians are moving on from being the philosophers
Mhm.
to YouTubers. So
That's right.
let's just take up that
That's
mantle.
right. If I learned anything, that's right. That's,
Yeah.
exactly the way that it should be.
Yeah. Um
Ah.
well, I guess like the first the
Yeah,
first step.
to tie what, we were just talking about, obviously, Israel and propaganda.
Yeah. So
Uh, we were in DC a couple weeks ago.
yeah, no, I actually got a tie-in,
Yeah,
I got a
yeah,
lead.
yeah, okay,
So,
alright, give me the lead in.
all right, so about us leading the masses into
Yeah,
revolution,
okay, alright.
we were at a protest in in DC.
Yeah,
Yeah, that worked? Yeah, I think it worked.
yeah,
We were in a
it's good.
protest in DC for a ceasefire to support Palestinians and put pressure on the Biden administration
Mhm,
to stop aiding Israel, stop giving them weapons, stop giving them support on the international stage, and largely went unnoticed by
yeah.
the Western media, if you will.
Except for Fox News.
Right, right.
Fox News did report that some people were very mean to the fences that they installed around the White House. They
Yeah,
shook them a little bit,
yes.
and
There's another.
that is, you know, representative of, just the dangers of Antifa.
Yeah. Which, to be clear, it was the fences.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well,
like
yeah,
the
that's right. These are we're talking about rented, so they rent a bunch of chain link, and they put it around the fences that already exist at the White House.
yes, these are the
So,
fences.
fences to protect the fences,
The
to
fences.
protect the White House.
Yeah, the fences defenses,
Yeah,
and so they were
and
they
people
were
climbed up on and shook those, and
yes,
that was indicative that, downfall of the empire was imminent, and, Antifa was gonna take over.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that at least I was led to believe in the 3 paragraphs that, Fox News wrote on it. But past that, I wanna say I saw something from AP News as well, but I think it was just a headline. I don't think there was any actual, you know, reporting on it. I think,
Well,
there's
I think one of the only things too is a comparison of is the Deborah Messing
Mhm.
and Van Jones, who was it also Hagee,
Uh-huh.
the pro Zionist rally that like I mean they ran it live.
Yeah, they ran it. Not only ran it live. I mean, this is
and
an event that
like
had.
MSNBC, CNN, Fox News,
Yeah,
all at some point in time were just running it live.
yeah, and this is an event that had maybe a couple thousand people there.
Oh yeah, I
Like,
mean,
I don't want to downplay it for them. I'm sure they had a very fun time while they were out there, but like this is like like when we were out there, week before last, there was easily hundreds of thousands of people there. I think they said the final count was topped off somewhere around like 400K.
yeah, and that's where it's like it's impossible to even like see that while you're there.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah. I knew I was like, this is a lot of people, And
yeah,
then like when we first got there, because we first got there, we walked kind of into this square pretty easily, but we got there early. And when I left, which was around like 4 or something, because my back was I'm still in the mend. Um, when I left, it was walking at least 2.5 blocks through just shoulder to shoulder
yeah,
people before I was even able to see a break in the crowd where we could start like kind of escaping the human mass.
yeah, yeah.
Like it was like, and then to look back on that and just see how many people were in those couple of streets was I don't know.
It is. I guess sort of like awe-inspiring. Like I
Yeah,
really am
yeah.
like short of other words to describe it.
In multiple ways, yeah, for sure.
Well, and just of like separate from like the sign of solidarity,
Hmm.
um, like that many people is hard to like even like comprehend. Like you're amongst that many people, especially like in that long type of like eerie like corridor of city streets.
Yeah.
Um, the other one, there was a protest of it was like now 2 months ago.
Uh-huh.
So with that one, I went to that one and I'd shown up late to it. We'd gotten there a little bit later than we had gotten to this past one. So
Okay.
we were gotten right up front. And so it's kind of hard to even realize, like seeing the videos earlier, I was like, oh my God, there was like way more people than
Yeah.
I'd even like it assumed where we are kind of centrally located. Um, for the first one that I went to, we got there late, and
Hmm.
so we could kind of see like the whole crowd kind of like moving, and it was like kind of easier to tell like holy shit, this is a lot of people. And like also like kind of being rose back and seeing how many different speaker systems are set up on the different blocks to
Yeah.
just project the speakers. But yeah, I think the one thing that does come also to the mind is the fact that I mean, they probably had as many cops outside of the Starbucks as they did outside the White House.
Amazing. I did like watching that while we were there. I did like watching the horse cops kind of roaming around, doing their thing, making sure that people weren't sitting on top of statues.
Which, yeah, they tried.
Yeah, yeah, they did their best, I guess. There's a lot of didn't stop. People from, I think they tied a cafe to like one of the horse riders, which is fun.
Yeah, and there's the Palestinian Spider-Man. I don't know. But he
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like
yeah. He was
climbing on a
great. I
lot
loved
of
him.
shit. Yeah. I
Yeah,
hope he made it out
I
all right.
agree. I think awe-inspiring for many, like not just like the size and the breadth of like what was going on there, but also just I don't know. I think the idea of getting out there like that, getting that energy is kind of like important. Like I think it's paramount, especially in like this day and age of a lot of feelings of kind of doom, about like the current path that we're on. Because even if you're currently fully down the path that this isn't going to change anything, it's still wild to be in the presence of people that are also dedicated to making this better.
Yeah. Um, and that's where I think it's very hard. Yeah, like because then that's where like for me, there's a lot of feelings of frustration of like, what do you do? And I think
Yeah.
that there's a lot of people who are kind of like voicing that, and feeling it,
Hmm.
and at that point, at the very least, I know that I'm hearing from, like the source,
Yeah.
when what's his name? YL, the Palestinian reporter who
Mhm.
just had his whole family, murdered.
Yeah.
And they played a video from him, the different organizers, um, the Palestinian students, they hearing from them of you're in the for one, this is where we want you to be in the streets with us,
Mhm.
letting people know. And also like these are the, things that you can kind of, continue to keep pressure on the elected officials where you think it's going to do something or not. It's like that's for me is like a very kind of like a small thing. But
Mhm.
also get out and like join organizations that are engaged on this issue. um and that's where I mean we're all at I think a loss for
Yeah.
even like I don't know words or explanation into like how we're watching a genocide on
Right.
our
And
phones.
yeah, I think I don't know. I think being in that kind of like situation. I mean that more in a macro sense, like even just being around friends that you can sit and like speak with this on is like very powerful, right? Like or just like coworkers that are also like of a similar mindset and understand what's like the depth of what's happening in Gaza right now. Um, but going to an event like that, or going to like smaller events like where you live, like in your own town. I know here in Richmond, we've since we're near an arts college, like there's quite a few demonstrations as well, to go to. I think things like that just kind of like I think a lot of that doom is kind of based in like not being able to do anything about it for so many various reasons. We're too far away. Our government doesn't want to do anything about it. But like being in those moments is just kind of like it reminds you again that like other people also kind of share that same agenda for like something to be done in the world and a change. And also just, how I don't know, it keeps you grounded in how like all of these things take place at that level, like these
Yeah.
these these
uh
get-togethers lead to like larger action. So
yeah, and and that's where I think, really to the important thing. This is always so lame because it's like, oh, organizing is like sounds so simple, you
yeah.
know. But and that's where like for me, as as a now YouTuber who is
Hmm.
controlling the masses. No, you know, um allow yourself to be organized, right? You know what I'm saying? Like just allow yourself to be told what to do. Um and not in the sense like of a day-to-day thing like that, right? But it's like,
Yeah.
allow a monthly meeting to be like an order that you can't say no to. Allow yourself to be organized. Um and it's just like I think it's like that's just the next step. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is signing up for something and making the meetings. That's just the next step into from going to we're a mass of people passionate about humanity.
Yeah.
um how do you actually get that into functional strength that can actually stop something like this from happening?
Hmm.
Not stop, like stop this genocide, but also making actually like making never again real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's just um yeah, it's crazy. But
Yeah.
I
How
mean, I
do
don't know if,
we form lasting institutions?
yeah, which I've got the answer that also
Hmm.
brings us, I think, into our next topic.
Yeah.
You got to vote.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly. Well, wait, we'll get to the voting thing in a second.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I know you're excited. We're recording on the day of the New Hampshire primaries, and you are charged up. You saw the votes coming out of Dixon Flabberty-Doo.
Yeah.
All 5 of them, or is it 4 or 5 going for
It was
Nikki Haley?
six votes.
6?
Little,
My
yeah,
God.
little
Wow.
Dixville, New Hampshire.
You know what's funny? Like
6.
looking at that, like we're gonna go full into this, but it is funny, really quick. And I didn't really see much discussion of it on social media. If you go into the census, 2020 there was 11 people living there, and then 2021 there was only 6, and I was like, oh, it
Vaxxed.
came for us all, brother.
They got vaxxed.
They got vaxxed. So it's tough.
Yeah,
It's tough.
sorry. Hey, amen. Roll Tide. Rest in peace,
Apparently,
brother.
it's just a family that lives there, like that has just bought the area.
Yeah.
From what I can understand, you know?
Something tells me I wouldn't be allowed in there.
Well, I mean, you're just talking about New Hampshire now. I think I don't know. I heard from some guy the other day, 88%, white in that state.
Yeah.
Crazy. That's blistering. But yeah, no, let's speaking of the march, real quick, I wanted to add on, kind of a pull us to the present, because that was 2 weeks ago. I want to talk about the Columbia situation for a second.
Yes.
You know, in the idea of smaller organization, sometimes, there are counter protesters, and sometimes there's just like an IDF stooge in the in the crowd that sprayed a couple of people with like a skunk juice.
Yeah. And which this is so where it's like I got to assume, like at the very least, yeah, it's like some type of like hunting scent type of thing. I don't really know, like, like I get it, okay, hunters, you know what I'm saying, like you want to kill shit.
Yeah.
I feel like rubbing piss all over yourself is a little
Right.
bit much.
Yeah.
But there's like a reason why, like I don't know. It
Yeah,
stinks.
I mean,
It's
yeah,
disgusting.
right. Yeah,
It is
and
like
that's
horrible.
the thing. There's been one of the protesters has been on social media, kind of like updating every 12 hours to 16 hours or so, about how they're 70 hours in now, and it's still they're not getting out of their clothing, they're not getting out of their hair, like it's
Yeah. Which, and I think, like, I mean, like there were some things that I read that they like it got in like people's eyes, which and that's it. It's just something that myself and other Black people who have been on college campuses have felt.
Sure.
That if we could get a congressional hearing, right, for let's just say every dozen instances of racism, right, or 2 dozen, right, we would lock up Congress for the rest of the, you know what I'm saying, like, like, and it's not to say these things shouldn't be addressed, but it's like you see that at least Stefanik and that whole huge thing, and you've got all these people fired, but it was Palestinian students that got shot.
Yeah,
it's that these supporters of a ceasefire are being like I don't know how to just like, what do you call this?
Yeah, like worse than bear. Like this is make no mistake. It's even been described as such by Colombia, I think, as a chemical attack. Like this is,
yes, I don't, because like
this is worse than like bear macing. This is quite literally using a chemical agent on people that's going to affect them for like days.
And then there's like there's like just nothing, right? Just like largely silence,
Again, like this until Colombia addressed it, and that response got into the news. It was again largely a thing that just really wasn't spoken about over the weekend. That one, this protest happened, and two, this, as we've now discovered, like, active IDF
IDF.
soldier that's currently over in the States, was the one that did it, thinking he was still back home and nothing would happen. And now, I mean, he's banned from being on Columbia campus, but and I think they've talked about beginning to open police investigation into it. But
Which is
this
so crazy too of like, oh, well, we're gonna think about opening an
Yeah,
investigation into this
right.
thing that put people in the hospital, but it was a goof.
Yeah. He didn't know what was gonna happen.
They
He just didn't
it
like what they had to say. You understand.
He had a right to defend himself.
Right. And again, like, I'm sorry, but when we talk about that in the same breath of these commentators, these newscasters that have been going on about like Jewish attacks on campus, and trying to have a discussion about where that exists, what campuses that are happening on, and then in the parallel here, we've got absolute direct attacks on Palestinian students, and there seems to be no advocacy whatsoever from those same folks.
Absolutely zero.
Yeah. It's like, I just kind of, I don't know, I just kind of wish we cared about all students, if we're being honest.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it'd be
think I
nice.
think uh I think that anti Arab and anti-Muslim sentiment has been at least a huge part of my like adolescence, like growing up, like in a post 9/11 world,
Yeah.
and seeing that still seems to be part of the course with kind of the deaf ears that this event was met with
Well,
until
yeah.
you know
And I
until
think
Columbia actually themselves said something about it.
and I
Is
think yeah, this is something where prior to, and I'd say even prior to Ilhan Omar's "It's all about the Benjamins" comment, which
Mhm.
like was speaking to something that is like now extremely obvious, right?
Yeah, sure, sure,
Uh,
sure.
but even prior to that, right? You like see this like the latent anti-Arab, anti-Muslim fervor that's like largely so it's always going to exist in any type of like right-wing faction, like I mean outside of the Muslim world. But
Yeah.
um but in the United States, like especially it's like after like the 20 years, of the war on terror, and they're trying to, pull out, especially too, and like you've got this like, um a lot of veterans
Mhm.
arguing for, people in, Afghan or Iraqi interpreters, and that kind of like breaking down some of like that strict barrier of like, oh, it's like kind of like where it's like this kind of like disgusting thing where it's like, Afghans are only useful people as so much like, or like only human as so much as they're useful to the empire, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Um, but even still, like that's going to help the within the domestic, like United States, that's going to help people who were firmly against it say, oh well, maybe especially too, it's like maybe if they're here in the United States, they're an interpreter and they helped us. That's why they're here. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
wouldn't that be great if that was the sentiment?
yeah.
But it's not. It's not at all. And really, white supremacy is gonna white supremacy.
Mhm.
As soon as this happens and it just kicks up. And the thing that, like you're saying, is like in the wake of 9/11, you've got anti-Arab, anti-Muslim, no one cares. No
Mhm.
one, and then it's like attacks on Sikhs,
Yeah.
fucking Latino dudes that
Mhm.
they just, hey, close enough,
Right, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
there's so much that happens downstream of this like initial right thing. Um and yeah, and it's like it's sickening to see. It's not,
Mhm.
it's like shocking, not surprising type of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Um and Yeah, I don't know. What was the question? I'm sorry, just like so amazed
No, I mean,
by
no,
how
no, no,
shitty
like,
this society is, right?
you got down into it, into heart of it, like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I mean, this just kind of speaks to the broader problem here with Gaza is, we very rarely, like stateside, see a humanization of, Arab peoples, and that really just kind of lends to why I think so many liberals are pretty happy to kind of uh, either ignore what's happening or write it off as well if they wouldn't have voted for this thing, whatever the excuse may be. I think a lot of it has to do with that very same othering that you were talking about. It's much easier to kind of like write these people off for them because they don't have to really see like their humanity.
Yeah, and that's, I think, like, part of it was where media, in like the broader sense,
Hmm.
um, shapes our world a lot.
Yeah.
Like you can only react as like what you see, and people getting their funnels and all this type of stuff. But at the end of the day, what happens if you do, if that bubble bursts? And
Hmm.
that's the thing where I honestly think like this is where, like, a lot of the media stuff, I'm actually even like I'm surprised sometimes that they are even showing so much of the truth,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And you've kind of got some of this, like, a situation where like the Biden administration just doesn't give a shit.
Hmm.
Um and most, and I think that might have been like, because really early on there was a majority ceasefire, like, polling, or opinion polls
Yeah.
coming out.
Yeah.
Like, pretty early on, people were like, "Okay, enough," right?
Yeah.
Like, within, like, a week and a half. It's
Hmm.
like, "All right, let's just stop this."
Yeah.
And it almost only feels like the media reacted to that and said, "Oh, we can actually just," like people want to hear from Palestinians
Hmm.
because they are seeing what's happening in the app, right?
Yeah.
But like you're not showing, like, they're obviously saying you're not showing the other side.
Yeah.
You got Mehdi Hassan, which is like crazy that they got rid of him.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, all of this is like shaping how people. But like, I feel like this is like one of those things where the truth cannot be denied. It's and
Sure.
especially now you got to the point where Netanyahu and like the rest of the gang is like so many statements, so many like admittance of genocidal intent.
Absolutely. And we've,
Um,
just kind of again, like, we have a very potent like media propaganda apparatus that has kind of tried to write those off. Even Joe Biden said, "Oh, I don't think he said that."
yeah,
When it's
yeah,
it's written, it's in written word. You can
no,
go to Twitter right now. Benjamin Netanyahu would never delete it. Like it's on his Twitter account. His full beliefs about what needs to happen, like in the region of Gaza.
yeah.
And Gavir also has said there can quite literally never be a state of Palestine. Like these people are very direct about what their
And,
intention is,
and also, like, and my also, like, my question would be is that too, is that not only does Netanyahu saying he doesn't support a two-state now, he's
Mhm.
also saying the reason why they haven't gotten a two-state yet
Yeah,
is because of the net of what he's done,
yeah,
right? And how is it you can, you know what I'm saying? How can you hand over weapons to the, the country? He's saying, not only do we not want a two, there's no two-state solution now, but the reason why it hasn't happened yet is
mhm,
because of him.
yes,
How is it possible you can hand one more bullet over to that man?
right. Like, I don't know. It's, because they, will forever remain our client state and our interest in that area.
Oh, because we make money off that
Yeah,
bullet.
that's right,
That's
that's
right.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
it is very lucrative
I
to
forgot
have
about,
them, as a client state, so
yeah, the line. It's gotta go up.
yeah,
It's gotta
yeah.
go up.
Well, listen, I know you were excited about elections, we can get back to
Yeah.
that, but
Yes.
before we talk about, Nikki Rising, obviously, we lost, lost a guy this weekend. You know,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. You and I were at lunch when it happened. It transformed. I was like, Marcus, I think this guy's about to drop out. And
Yeah.
then within 5 minutes, it was a speech from Ron DeSantis saying that that he was suspending his campaign.
Yeah, and I ruined my drink from the tears. From
You have
laughing.
open up
So,
about it, I think. Yeah. Wait, hold. I need to listen. I think all of his suspension of his campaign, I think it all like comes together in this like short little clip. I'm sure you've seen it already, but I think it's important that we just look at this together.
Yeah, let's get one more look at Meatball Ron.
Yeah. No, well, not Ron specifically,
Oh.
but this Donald Trump clip is just
even better.
He just said, will I be using the name Ron the Sanctimonious? I said, that name is officially retired.
I honestly can't believe that this guy ever thought to run against Donald Trump. It's actually wild. And he thought that he would beat like like I don't care, like obviously like we detest like Donald Trump, and you can hate him as much as you want, but to think that like somebody like Ron DeSantis would have an ounce of charisma next to this guy.
Yeah. Well, and that's where it's like Donald Trump. I think it's like instinctively knows a lot, like Americans.
Yeah, he's an entertainer. Like he was the focus of he's been the villain in over half dozen cartoons and television shows over the 90s. Like he understands like he understands entertainment. He understands like the people that he's speaking to in the Republican Party.
Yeah.
In a way that like just I don't think these other candidates understand. Even Ron DeSantis, who really tried to tap into it, just didn't speak the same language.
I mean, the only people who really get it are this is where it's like the most pathetic sycophants. Those are the people who have the most understanding of what's happening.
Yes.
Whether they agree with it or not.
Yes.
Your Lindsey Grahams, and this is where I think Lindsey Graham and is a disgusting little piglet man.
Yeah.
But he understands power.
Yep, he gets which way the wind is blowing, and will rightfully for his career will rightfully follow what's on the horizon.
Yeah.
Like, he is one of the actual true, like there's two different types of Republicans, and that's not to say that they don't have common purpose and don't like their votes don't align or anything like that, but there's two different type of, I think, Republicans in the party right now. There are the people that understand power and understand like what Donald Trump means for that party, and there are the people that are still beholden to the establishment. And the people that are still beholden to the establishment live in like a George H.W. Bush era. Like Nikki Haley is running like a pre-Clinton era type of campaign. Like that type of politician does maybe even Bush Jr. But that type of politician does not exist anymore for their electorate and for just the party as a whole.
Honestly, Nikki Haley would have done better running as a Democrat.
Absolutely. And I think you and I talked about this. I think if she came onto the stage in 2028 and said, I've mended my ways, I've realized the Republicans have gone far outside the realm of what I expected. They've become the party of Trump. I see that now just as well as you do. And became, a Democrat. She would be the heir apparent. Democrats love her for some reason, and I don't think just as a Republican, they just love the idea of somebody that would, shirk the, the blessings of Donald Trump.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same as Christie. Like they love that. They love the redemption arc of the well-meaning moderate Republican.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's where too, where if like it's the amount of love for like someone like Liz Cheney,
Yeah.
right? Only for like literally like for the first time in her career recognizing reality, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, she just wants to crush LGBTQs people.
Mhm.
God, damn her sister, her own sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Fuck the pores, love the wars, all of this.
Mhm.
And then it's just like, oh well, yes, there actually was an insurrection. Because
Yeah.
like, and that's where too, where it's like where the self-interest
Yeah.
for most of these Republicans, right? Except for like Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, what
Adam
the other
Kinzinger.
asshole, the
Yeah.
other guy,
That guy. Yeah.
that guy that's no longer in the party,
Yeah.
right? Those are the only two people who their physical, right? Their
Mhm.
physical importance superseded their political importance,
Yes.
right? All of the rest of them said, no, troll Trump's our guy. Like it's so wild because like most of so much of them were so shook. Kevin
Yeah.
McCarthy looking like he snot bubble about to cry as he's saying, "Please, Trump, can you call them off?"
Yeah.
And then within a week, they're just back to it. But when Liz Cheney just recognized, hey, this guy almost
This
got us
could be,
killed.
yeah, this could be dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah. And all of these libs start clapping like seals. And it doesn't take much. It really doesn't take much to
Mhm.
get the Democratic base to like you
Yeah.
because if because they've been largely given nothing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if
That's
you've been
true.
expecting absolutely nothing for so long,
Yeah.
seeing someone stand up, it look like, but like that's where it's like seeing Liz Cheney saying, "Oh wow, I almost got killed." And it
Yeah.
was that guy's fault, obviously. And
Mhm.
they're like, "Oh, wow. Wow. That's so brave.
Yeah, what a powerful
So
story to
brave."
tell. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Nancy Pair speech, but she recognized her life was in danger.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
wow, that's crazy. And, this place
Yeah,
is
it's wild,
a
man.
mess.
Also, my like the the depths when we're talking about like recognizing power in somebody like Lindsey Graham, I think Lindsey Graham actually kind of plays second fiddle now to Nancy Mace. I think that's insane to me. Like
No,
your entire political career was on a hairline. Donald Trump was trashing her. She quite literally needed an endorsement from Nikki Haley in order to get back into that seat.
Yes.
And then when push came to shove on Sunday, she just like, Trump's my guy.
Yeah.
It makes no sense, man.
Yeah.
What are
Yeah.
you talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah. It's as if
That's wild.
like
That's a wild happenstance.
the only thing I could be worried, which and like that's where it is like if we find out later that it was Lindsey Graham that gave
Yeah.
John McCain cancer,
Yeah.
that's the only thing, right? That's like the only way Lindsey can come back and be in the top spot.
Yeah,
Because like
he's not top dogging it anymore,
yeah,
man. Nancy
no, and
Grace
this
has
is
just proven like, oh, it doesn't matter,
yeah.
anything.
Although I do think that Nancy Grace's political style is
Mhm.
it's like that's Lindsey Graham, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
She
She's like a young
saw
Lindsey Graham, yeah.
yeah, she saw Lindsey Graham as like, oh well, I mean, he's a slimy motherfucker, but look, he stays
Results.
winning.
Can't argue with the
Yeah.
results. Yeah.
And that's the one thing, Lindsey Graham. Somebody said that I will never forget, and
Mhm.
it just holds true to who he is, right?
Yeah.
It was after John McCain died, who knows who gave him that cancer, Lindsey. But there's like famously they're close friends and blah blah blah.
Mhm.
They're asking Lindsey, what does he remember, or like what did he take most, right? What did John McCain teach you, right?
Yeah.
And Lindsey doesn't say anything about the military service, doesn't say anything about, decades of the Senate,
Yeah.
none of that shit, right? He says, John McCain knew how to stay relevant. That's
Yeah, I
that's
remember that. Yeah.
that's that's the thing,
Yeah.
right? That's
That's it.
the most important morsel
Mhm.
from John McCain's life that Lindsey Graham could take.
Yep.
Stay relevant,
Mhm.
not do good deeds, not service the country. I mean,
Yep.
John
Yeah, I
McCain
mean,
didn't
again, it
do much of that.
understands, like, how beholden he is to maintaining the reins of power,
Yeah,
you know? Like,
and
this is the reason, like, I don't think there's any illusion why you find him, like, counter to, Donald Trump, like, at restaurants and everything like that, like, sitting around, like, Grima worm-tonguing into his ear. Like,
well, yeah.
he knows that these things are going to be politically advantageous to him just by showing that he's in proximity to that power.
Well, it's how he stays relevant, right?
Yeah,
John McCain
absolutely.
could make himself relevant,
Yeah,
right, from whatever shit he was doing.
yeah,
Lindsay needs to, affix his lips to someone's asshole in order to be relevant, and
right.
he just, sees who it is and then goes for it, and that's where it is. He's smart enough to see this is where the wind's blowing.
Yeah,
We got to go with Trump, and he's never looked back. And the same with Nancy Mace. And that's where it's like like most Republicans were like, no, this like the first day, this is crazy, it's bad. January 6th, oh my God,
mhm,
we got to move on from Trump. But it didn't take long, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And especially like her through this whole committee or this whole like past Congress. It's like we're barely halfway through this Congress, and it's just
Yeah,
so absurd.
that's wild to me.
But yeah, and that's the thing is like I think she's probably likely gonna have probably an easier time.
Mhm.
Maybe getting reelected.
Yeah,
Once the Trump
absolutely,
endorsement comes through.
absolutely. Yeah, because she's realigned herself, especially, like, I just look overall, we talk about Nikki Haley, and, we'll talk about New Hampshire in a second, obviously, and her win at Gobbler's Knob or whatever it's called. But I think you see she understands the apparatus there in South Carolina as well. Like, nobody's on Haley's side in any of this. Like, maybe a couple of party players, but overall, like, that's a very virulently like Trump state. Like,
Yeah,
all the
and
way. Like, I don't think if I'm being honest, once it comes down to that primary, I don't think Nikki comes even close. Like, that is his country, much like a
oh,
lot of the different states.
oh yeah, no, and that's
Some would say most
I
states,
mean,
actually. I don't know why I'd say a lot. Like, most
well,
most states, like, Trump is wildly popular, in the party.
yeah,
There's
and
no
it's
one that even would deign to come close.
no, and it's only going to get worse, and I mean this is like been the narrative the whole time.
Yeah.
When are you going to get out? Even like it's going to just continue on, and and that's where I think, especially for Nikki, she is thinking, long term.
Mhm.
I think that she's like probably thinking like, yeah, I'm going to lose to Trump, but I'm going to stick to my guns. Hope Trump loses to Biden, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
next go round,
But she was
you
loyal, so yeah.
right, yeah, and like obviously she's gonna probably. I think she's gonna be more palatable to
Mhm.
who's left over
Sure.
after Trump. She's gonna be more palatable than Ron DeSantis, who
Well, right, because I mean, that's the game now, is who can still retain, like, proximity to him. Even begrudgingly during that concession speech, Ron DeSantis still, like, threw a shot at Trump, which was really
oh
interesting,
yeah,
but, overall still says, "I think he's
yeah.
the guy for the job." Um,
I do think it's funny of like Tim Scott and Vivek Ramaswamy and
yeah.
Doug Burgum, which I had my money on. I had my money on Burgum. I was gonna,
Yeah, no, I know.
I
Listen, that
was
guy
I was
Doug
gonna put in
Burgum's
a
quite
resume.
interesting.
I was gonna put in a resume for the Burgum,
Yeah, for
administration.
the
I thought he
campaign.
had
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Listen, here's the thing. Like, out of all of those people that showed up on the stage, forget that Bergam only got 1% for a second. He was the only one that was dedicated to full-on warfare if China even gazed over at a semiconductor factory in Taiwan. This man was ready to finger the nuclear option if a child like swam off the wrong beach. He was like, all right, listen, we're not messing around with these guys anymore, okay? Sir, it's not the Cold War anymore. No, I know.
Yeah, they said it's hot. Did you not see the balloon?
Yeah.
We're in a hot war.
There's something about like the Northwest that like just
it's the nuclear silos, right? It's
yeah,
something about it's like corn.
The proximity to those areas, it just really drives conservatives up there, into like a Jack Torrance-esque rage, you know?
I mean, I got to imagine, you know what I'm saying? Like you drive by corn and nuclear missile silos, corn missile silos. You know what the corn does, right? But it's like you've just been dreaming about those things opening them up, right? You're just like, God damn it, dude.
What if, you know?
What if?
Yeah.
And then it's like, Bergham's like, what if it could be me that pushes the button? It's a twofer.
What if my powerful eyebrows got in there? Think about that.
Oh, yeah. What if he like dusted the button with the eyebrow and launches? Listen, the man's got dreams, okay?
Yeah, no, listen, I don't want to take that away from him, you know?
But no, they all, which is like it is kind of funny, which I think they're doing the VP dance. I think for most people, if you ran against Trump, I think it's largely dumb to think that he would pick you for VP. He is
absolutely
the pettiest man.
Yeah. Imaginable, yeah.
So while he's gonna grab, like, you tell your people to vote for me, absolutely, he's gonna use you.
Yeah,
he's gonna use you, right?
Yeah, you get to man the phone lines now.
Exactly,
that's what you get to do until November. You know?
And
you'll be happy about it, just like Ted Cruz was.
Exactly. Smile for the camera, Teddy.
Yeah, that's it.
But that's where like you quick to drop out, endorse, blah blah blah. Ron DeSantis, like, I really don't understand. I mean, he's just dumbass. He just doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah, he's got
like political calculus throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, you got to see like his political instincts are actually like very. I'd say like they're extremely bad. I think he just is much more of a state politician. Like I think he has run a pretty effective propaganda campaign in his state and is kind of in touch with that. I think he tried to just take that nationwide and put like a sheen of just like Trump light over it, but past that, I don't think he really understood the landscape. I mean, like,
the sheen also came with like freak show online people.
Yeah,
making,
he had a
like,
bunch
weird
of like
videos
working for him. Like, do you remember the video where he tried to paint Trump as more aligned with like gay people than he would be, you know, and just like Trump wanted trans women at his universe contest, you know, and it's like, what is this, man? Who do you think this is gonna resonate with?
And there's like the murder guy, you know, like the what's that, like the American Psycho, like, you know, like it's
yeah. What if I had Christian Bale in a video? Yeah,
like you're running for president.
Yeah. Why did you? Yeah, I think that's it. I think what really happened in his campaign, besides him being an idiot, maybe because of him being an idiot, he got a lot of people in those early campaign days that thought that he was the guy. You know, if they're true believers, they think he could be the guy, because that was what we were worried about before he started running, was this could be the guy that's actually Trump competent. And to a certain extent, maybe, but he is not a great politician, like nationally.
And this is where the first poll out of New Hampshire, Ron DeSantis was polling number 1.
Yeah.
150 million dollars in Iowa.
Yeah.
Going to every county twice.
Crazy. Yeah.
And
really thought that he was gonna pull it together there to finish 30 points below Trump.
Didn't even, and drops out before New Hampshire. Right? Yeah. Like, colossal fail.
Yeah.
Colossal fucking fail. And that's where it's like, whatever happens tonight, you know, like, I do think I'm I'm curious to see if Nikki Haley's willing to get her ass kicked in her own state.
Yeah, I would be shocked if she didn't drop out before South Carolina. Like if she sticks in and lets that happen as well, that would be crazy.
Which is there some time, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like a
You've
few.
got
It's like almost a month away.
yeah, you got about a month before. I think
Yeah,
they're normally at the end of February in South Carolina. Yeah,
yeah.
you got a little time,
So
but I just don't. What's she going for? Maybe she's not getting any of DeSantis's numbers. Those people's second choice is like 90%
Trump.
Trump.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe she gets a bump of like 1 or 2%. But what's she really hoping to get out of New Hampshire tonight? You know, versus Trump, it's gonna be like a 70-30 split, man. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I honestly don't know what you're looking for outside of, Winn-Dixie or whatever that town is. I just don't.
Dixville.
Yeah, Dixville. Yeah.
It's legit called Dixville. I'm not messing around. It's called Dixville. I swear. I'm not being.
All right.
Don't you believe me? It's called
No,
Dixville.
yeah, it's Dixville. It's Dixville. I trust you. It's Dixville. Yeah, I think
you're being racist.
But besides that, like, what does she hope to achieve here? Again, like you and I said, like your calculus at this point, if you're Nikki Haley, is to raise your profile for 2028, or probably not that, because you're running against the king in most Republicans' eyes. So like, do you just hope that you get an RNC spot?
I mean, there's that. I think, and honestly, it's where it's like you got some, like. There's an interview. She did an interview on Fox News this morning that I watched. Goes,
oh no! Yeah. Okay.
I needed it.
Yeah.
Well, she like pretty much like her and Kilmeade like started going at it because like she basically called like all media liars, and Kilmeade's like,
good.
What did we lie about other than Dominion voting machines and sexual assault? But and she keeps kind of stating like she's just looking to do better, right? So what'd you get? 20-something% in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Or even like 19%, whatever.
So she gets a couple points better than she did in Iowa.
It's like, I think as long as she gets more than that number, in New Hampshire, but then you get to South Carolina, where I think maybe she just takes the L and then hopes that something happens on Super Tuesday. And like where it's like I'm not sure where where it goes outside of.
But again, like
she's just gonna try and seed.
Yeah, for what purpose?
For
the
whole next, like really, like she's trying to try and seed. I get it, like part of it hoping that like if Trump loses, then she can go on some type of like "I told you so" tour.
Yeah. I guess. I guess that's kind of what you hope for at that point. If you're her, is that Trump, loses, and not just in a split decision versus Biden, but loses pretty decisively, like 5 or more points.
Yeah.
So that you can make that appeal in 2028 and say, no, we do need to go back to this older style of Republican candidate that does, perceivably at the top of, the surface have values, etc.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I just like it's such a gambit, like what she's kind of running right now. It doesn't really endear her to the party. It doesn't, I think she's already written a book, like unless she wants to write another one. I don't know what that's for, I wonder what she's kind of gunning for, like future career wise.
Maybe
like she's not rich enough for this to just be a vanity run.
Well, and also, which also, Boeing not doing so hot. I'm not sure they're gonna have a salary waiting for her on the board
I'm about to
again.
say, like, I don't think she's getting a consultant job back with them anytime soon. They're not,
I have no idea, but God forbid me speak against a strong woman.
That's right. You need to, think about that. All right.
Yeah.
We're in a different age now. Progressive. We respect girl bosses like Nimrata.
It's so crazy that it's like I'm actually surprised it took him this long to get racist with her.
That's so crazy, man.
But
Like when I saw that Truth Social like post though, like I knew he had been waiting on it. He just
oh
wanted
yeah,
he just was waiting for her to run against him in a state, you know, waiting to get the results from one of those states. And he was like, and then I'll bust it out.
yeah. We just
She'll see then. Yeah.
First, we gotta take out little Ron.
Like doesn't even need to. Again, when we talk about like this guy made of spite, doesn't even need to do this. He's the pettiest guy to all of them, and he's still going to be, always was going to be as soon as he said that he wanted it. Always was going to be the the Republican candidate. He's just doing it because they dared cross him. They dared like raise a hand to him. It's wild.
And, yeah, and like it's like watching like someone rub their dog's face in poop.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, like that's why I picked that clip specifically we watched earlier, because it doesn't matter him. Ron DeSantis doesn't matter him as a person. He's just like, no, I think we've retired that name now. Like because it just in his mind, Ron DeSantis is just a loyal, like has like pledged his fealty to him,
Which, and I mean, that's the thing though, is like, especially with Ron did nowhere near enough to get actually back in his good graces, and this is where it's like Tim Scott, Vivek Ramaswamy, like they are jumping through hoops to be next to Trump and tell him how great he is and how much, and like that whole speech. I don't know if you saw the Tim Scott
where he's evoking like a Baptist minister. Yeah, that's great.
We need a president who will tell homeless people you belong in prison, and that president is Donald Trump. Yeah, that's
amazing.
Crazy.
The closer that he gets to that marriage date, man, the more confident he's becoming. I don't know.
I know that whole God. The guy's so pathetic. It's so pathetic.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But no, that's and even in my opinion, like the fact that Tim Scott ran for president, Vivek running for president, like you're on the dead list, right? You can only be used up. You will never be promoted to anything. You were disloyal, and like
that's right.
That's Trump.
You should have supported him the whole time.
Yeah.
Now you have to sit there and serve him for a little while, and then go on from there.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Geez.
I don't know. Well, next week we'll know what's happened in New Hampshire, and maybe we'll just be talking about Nikki Haley having also suspended her campaign. Who knows?
Because then that's where too if the New Hampshire can be interesting, depending on like however many like undecideds and what they do, and
I mean that's why I'm interested on the Democrat side, is just kind of seeing how many people in New Hampshire don't go for Joe Biden.
That's
I don't think it's going to be a large percentage, but
the DNC shifting, and that's where it's like, I wonder how many engaged. There's like a write-in campaign for Biden.
Yeah,
there's like a good of, it's like this is where it's like I have no idea what the data is on this, but it's like New Hampshireites.
Yeah,
New Hampshires,
Hampsies,
and Natures.
Yeah,
they
and no, not that.
no. There is a the first in the nation. It's like it's not, and it's not like it's like no like monolith thing, but it's like you run into those people. It's like if for every political nerd in your state, like the political nerd in New Hampshire believes they have a duty to vet the candidates, and all that type of shit.
Yeah.
And so, the whole like taking away the first in the nation, is that upsetting? Do they, what do they do? There is this like Biden campaign to write in. I know there's also a write-in campaign for like ceasefire that the Secretary of State for New Hampshire said that like they will like log it in, as a legitimate like person to vote for a ceasefire.
Interesting. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm hoping that it gets some percentage, just at
Yeah.
least so
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
hopefully
Yeah.
some news station will like put it in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think like obviously I think it's ridiculous to like move it like to South Carolina for the
Mhm.
DNC, but
The
here we
wildest
are.
thing, like the reasoning given, like this is more representative of the country, like representative of the Democrats in the country. Because I don't know if you've ever been to South Carolina, but it's not
Nah.
necessarily a blue state, man.
Yeah,
Like I don't know
exactly.
why. Like if you want to do that, then hold your primary, like your first primary in like New York or something.
Which and that's where too is like I
And
can only imagine the amount of kickbacks Clyburn got
oh,
for
absolutely. I mean,
securing that
he was
bag.
a made man after 2020.
Oh yeah.
Already was, but especially in Biden's eyes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
So.
yeah.
Mm.
And this is like the very like old school political fucking wheeling dealing shit that like Biden,
Yeah.
was probably like more used to as like he was coming up. And like this is like this autopilot, like just kind of clicks in of like literally Clyburn in South Carolina saved his campaign. And Obama in the phone call, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, yeah.
Here we are. But yeah. We'll see. But
Yeah, we'll have a juicy recap of it next week.
yeah.
Closing thoughts on the way out? Anything, anything to chew on?
And this is like the thing is weird, whoever's listening to this, thank you.
Mhm.
And
We're gonna give
I
you
would say
more treats,
more
every
treats.
week.
And I'm excited. I'd say the only thing that we like didn't really talk about because it was like something that was like more of an issue and then died off after they
Mhm.
passed the continuing CR. But I
Yeah.
think the question of like what happens to Mike Johnson because he did the CR, does the
Yeah.
same, does he get McCarthy'd? Do they
Mhm.
just kind of like say it's okay? But they eventually like the same government shutdown is just gonna come up in March again. Like this cycle that we're on
We're just
with the
gonna
Congress
are we gonna break the
is
cycle, or is it just gonna continue to, get kicked down the road? Yeah.
I mean, there's not going to be a year to budget for by
Yeah.
the time they get done with the budget.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting, I don't know. It's an interesting situation with that.
Or maybe the government shuts down.
Yeah, which would be wild, especially if it happens, on like imagine they kick the can down the road another 3 months and then shut it down just with a couple of months to go before Biden's hopeful
Yeah.
second term. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Let's let's roll that dice, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What about you? Any last words? Any
I just
final
hope
things?
I hope Doug Burgum's okay,
Same.
Yeah.
I think
Hope he's
about Doug.
just think about Doug. Well, yeah, I agree with you. Thanks. Anybody sitting around watching, listening, I think we're gonna put this up on YouTube, and then I'm gonna start looking into how this fits into like podcasts, Anchor, all that stuff. So we'll
Yeah.
have it available in a bunch of different places, either audio or video form.
And a year from now, live shows.
That's right. Yeah. Once we
You
build
know,
the empire to a point where
yeah.
we are the heir parents of the podcast space, then everywhere.
Hype house.
Yeah,
Right.
we
We'll do the
will.
thing.
Yeah, we will. There will be an installment of this in every mid-sized town.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
we'll start to
or
take over.
yeah. What type of restaurant do you think we're going to start? We got to
Oh,
start.
listen, I'm really a big fan of just like simple like rice dishes. Like a little onigiri or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that would be great. Just simple little bite-sized stuff for people.
This is America. That's
Burger and fries. Okay, yeah.
that's
What
the
if we made an
dumbest
onigiri
idea.
burger? Hear me out.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now you're talking. All
Yeah,
right.
we make like
Now
a
you're
patty out of the
talking.
rice and then fry it and shit, and then put cheese
Yes.
all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. All right.
Bacon.
Yeah. Shakes.
Okay.
We'll have shakes in there as well.
Yes. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
No. Now we're talking here. All right. Jesus. Rice.
Yeah.
Rice.
Yeah, I love rice. It's
Okay.
great.
I mean, it's
I'm meal prepping right now. I'm digging it.
like
All right. We'll get back to this next week.
yes.
All right. Bye, folks.
Peace.